Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we'll recite the Gita Mahatmya shlokas now. गीतशास्त्रमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् प्रयता पुमान् विष्णोपदम् अवाप्नोति भयशोकादिवर्जिता गीतध्यायनशीलस्य प्राणायामपरस्य च नैव शान्तिः पापानि पूर्वजन्म कृतानि च मलिने मोचनं पुंसां जलस्नानं दिने दिने सकृद्गीतामृतस्नानं संसारमलनाशनं गीतासु गीतकर्तव्या किं मन्ये शास्त्रविस्तरे यस् यस्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुखपद्मद्विनिश्रिता भारतामृतसर्वस्वं विष्णुवक्त्रद्विनिश्रितं गीतगङ्गोदकं पीत्वा पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दुग्धा गोपालनन्दना पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्रगीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मन्त्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So, my obeisances to all the assembled devotees today who have joined to hear the session, and also my gratitude to all of you for uh, joining regularly for the classes. And because of you, I've got an opportunity to study the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And I would like to thank Her Grace Satyeshwara Mataji and His Grace Ramakrishna Prabhu for guiding all of us children and allowing us to study Bhagavad Gita. And also, I would like to thank Devyani for sending some materials for the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which has helped me a lot to present. So, with that note, I will start the presentation. I will just share my screen. Krishna. One second. I'm not able to see. Are all of you are able to see the screen?
It was coming earlier. Yeah, now it is.
But it's not on slideshow.
Yeah. But just a while back, it was on slideshow only. Yeah, now we are able to see.
So, the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is entitled The Perfection of Renunciation. So, okay, so the link with I will just share my screen in some time. But the link with the previous chapter is that all the previous chapters of Bhagavad Gita, there has been a description of various systems of yoga. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga has been emphasized. So we know that in the first six chapters talk about Karma Yoga, and then towards the end it's talking about Jnana Yoga. So and sixth chapter even talks about Dhyana Yoga. So we have seen these different kinds of yoga systems that have been mentioned. So in this final chapter, Krishna gives a summary of everything that has been said in the Bhagavad Gita, and he stresses on bhakti, that is devotional service, in loving surrender to Krishna. And he tells that that is the ultimate goal of life. So, yeah. So that was the connection with the previous chapter. And actually, by now, Krishna has finished presenting whatever he had to present in Bhagavad Gita. So this is just like a revision of what is there. So the acronym for this chapter is SMILE. That is, okay. So the acronym for the chapter is SMILE. So S stands for summary. That So S gives a summary of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, which is presented in verses 1 to 18. So, and then M stands for modes of material nature from verses 19 to 40. I stands for ideal worker, that is from 41 to 45. And L stands for love of God, that is from 56 to 66. And E stands for the end result, which is from verses 67 to 78. So, chapter 18 is essentially a final summary of Bhagavad Gita, and after systematically outlining different yoga systems, Krishna offers his Param Vachaha, which is his supreme advice. That is, basically, one should take up to Bhakti Yoga, that is the most essential spiritual practice. So, um okay, so the first section, that is S, summary of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So the 18th chapter begins by addressing the frequently asked question that seems to pop up again and again. Like, if you remember in the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna had asked, should I renounce or should I not renounce? So again, Arjuna asked the same question, and he asked that if working in this world seems to attract karmic reaction, and it implicates us in a web of worldly complexity, and if it's going to bind us in the material world, is it not safe that we just give up work altogether? So this is how the 18th chapter starts, by Arjuna asking Krishna that is it not just better to just renounce everything and give up work altogether? So in this section we will see what Krishna answers to Arjuna, and we will also see the 5 factors of action. Then in the second section, that is M, modes of nature, it is mentioned how modes of material nature entangle each person according to their individual mentality. And he explains how the modes influence our knowledge, our actions, our understanding, our determination, and ultimately our sense of happiness. So, 5 things are mentioned in this chapter that the modes of material nature influence. So, knowledge, actions, understanding or the intelligence, determination, and happiness, sense of happiness. Then, in the next section, that is ideal worker, um it it is the solution is given. So in the previous section it is said, yeah, that the modes of material nature influence our knowledge, actions, intelligence, determination, and happiness. So then what is the solution? So that solution is explained in the next section, that is ideal worker. And on one hand, we are expected to be aloof and unattached to work, but in reality, we are conditioned by the modes of nature. So, Krishna explains in this section that system of Varnashram. So, where if we engage our inherent nature in different types of work, we will not be bound. So, as this is also already discussed in previous chapter. So, in this chapter, nothing is new. Krishna is just repeating everything, and this is like a summary for all of us. So again, the 4 divisions mentioned are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. The intelligent class, the martial class, the mercantile class, and the laborer class. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So one need not artificially imitate another man's duty, but rather embrace what is natural and inborn. So that is stressed in this section, that by engaging our nature and discharging work in a spirit of God consciousness, we purify ourselves of material propensities and we will be able to live a happy and peaceful life. Then the next section is L, yes, love of God. So after telling all this, Krishna concludes that all the activities and practices and elements of spirituality are ultimately aimed at achieving pure love of God. And the highest realization in transcendental knowledge is to re-establish our eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Mate, the screen is not
Tulsi,
seen.
yeah, I was just wondering. I did not want to stop your flow. That's why I just kept quiet. So we are not able to. It says pause the screen sharing.
There's some problem. I'm not able to share. Should I rejoin and check?
Yeah, you close the PPT,
Okay.
then start. Let us see. Now we can see the screen, but it is not in presentation mode, but we can see the screen.
I will try once more, Mate.
Yeah, connection to yes, we can. Um, okay, we can see now.
Now it's seen?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
but you're not to be seen.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
now.
now we can see. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So yes, I'll just show the slides once again. So we discussed the connection to the previous chapters, and we also discussed the acronym and briefly explained what is coming under each letter. So now we'll go into each section one by one. So the first section is summary of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga from verses 1 to 8. So in this section there are mainly three subsections. First is Arjuna's doubts, then Krishna's reply, and then who is responsible for work. Okay, so the first two subsections, that is Arjuna's doubts and Krishna's reply, is giving the philosophy of Karma Yoga. And who is responsible for work is giving the philosophy of Jnana Yoga. So that's like the summary of whatever Karma and Jnana has been given in the Bhagavad Gita. So we can see both of this in the first section. So now Arjuna's doubt, as I already told, is that if we work, there is going to be some result. Acting in any way is going to give us a result, correct? So if we do not want the result, isn't it just better to give up actions altogether? So that is Arjuna's doubt. And then Krishna replies that performing prescribed actions in the mood of renunciation is better than renouncing the action itself. And this is the summary of the first six chapters. So basically, this is what Krishna answers. This is the same answer that he had also given in the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that performing actions in the mood of renunciation is better than renouncing the actions itself. So now we will see. Okay. So Arjuna's doubt in 18.1 is the difference between sannyas and tyaga. Sannyas and tyaga, he asks what is the difference between sannyas and tyaga. So basically, sannyas is giving up the activities that are based on material desire, and tyag is giving up result of one's activities. For example, a very mundane way to understand it is like how parents take care of the kids and they do not expect the kid to take care of them when they grow up. Although it is good for us to do so, it is recommended, but the parents have no motive while raising up the kids that oh, they will also in exchange do something for me, give me money, take care of me when I'm old. So that giving up the result of our activities. And further, when we see Then, after Arjuna asks this question, Krishna gives the answer. So he says that he gives actually different opinions. He gives two opinions about Tyaga, that the Kapila Sankhya gives, and also Jaimini, followers of Jaimini say. But at the end, he concludes his opinion. He gives what is his opinion. So Krishna's opinion is to perform duties and do not renounce the responsibilities. Instead, we need to work without any attachment or desire for result. So ultimately, the conclusion is that Tyaga and Sannyasa are essentially the same, and there is no difference between renounced order of life and renunciation of the fruits of work. So, thus, both of these words are equated as renunciation. So, this is Krishna's final conclusion about Sannyasa and Tyaga. Now, okay, before the next part, so Krishna says that the mood, he tells us the mood of performing actions. We need to perform our actions without attachment or doership mentality, without expectation of result, and as a matter of duty. So now a question may arise in our minds is that how can I practically lead a Krishna conscious life in today's situation? We may think that Krishna is saying that we need to perform our actions without attachment and worship mentality, and we need to be Krishna conscious. So how can we practically do it? So the answer is that we should act like a cashier. Like a cashier handles millions of dollars and he takes the responsibility for protecting the money. But at the same time, he is not attached to the money because he knows that it is not his money, it is someone else's money, and he just has the temporary responsibility over it. So with that same attitude, one should perform his prescribed duty just like a custodian takes care of the property. And another example is that another way to understand how we can take care of our personal needs or household duties and family responsibilities is that we can understand it by the functioning of a train. So if we are sitting in a train and we have a desired destination, suppose I'm going from Mumbai to Delhi. So in between, there'll be many other stations, there'll be many other stops, and in each station there'll be vada pav. Someone will be selling vada pav, someone will be selling chips, someone will be selling yogurt, dahi, so many different things, correct? So but I will not get distracted by it. Even if I go at a particular station to buy something, I know that my final destination is to Delhi, and I will come back in the train and sit in the train, and I know I have to reach there. So I will not get distracted. So similarly, even though we are as conditioned souls in the material world, we have to take care of our personal needs, household duties, and family responsibilities. We know that our ultimate aim is to please Krishna and serve Krishna. So this is the way we can understand, and this is the way we can approach this lesson. So after Krishna gives this conclusion, from verses 7 to 9, uh, Tyaga in three modes is explained. That is renunciation in three different modes. So we will not go very deep into that, into each mode. Like there is Tyaga in ignorance, Tyaga in mode of passion, Tyaga in mode of goodness. But after all that, Krishna says that who is a true renunciant? So a true renunciant is he who renounces the result of action, that is karma phala tyagi, for it is impossible for an embodied being to completely give up all actions. For example, just to understand it, is that, for example, I'm keeping an Ekadashi fast. And on that day of Ekadashi itself, I will feel so hungry. I will want to eat. It happens, right? Only particularly on that day of Ekadashi, when you're not able to eat, you will feel like, oh, I want to eat this, I want to eat that. So similarly, if we do not have control on our mind, how will we give up actions completely? If we have mind, we'll be having some thoughts, we'll be having inclinations. So then we cannot completely altogether give up actions. If this simple thing we can't do, then how will we be able to give up actions altogether? Correct? So that is why Krishna says you perform actions but renounce the result of action. That is a true renunciant. And this is the end of 18.7 to 9. And then in the 14th verse, Krishna tells who is responsible for karma. So after talking about karma yoga, Krishna is giving jnana yoga. So the connection with that is the connection between renunciation in three modes and who is responsible for karma, that section is that we know that any action will have some reaction. So how is it that a karma yogi with the spirit of renunciation avoids bondage to karmic reaction? So we know that if we perform some karma, there will be a reaction. But then, how does a devotee who is following what Krishna has said, has renounced the result of the actions, how will he be able to perform work without getting bound? So the answer is that he knows that he is not the doer, and with that conviction, he performs his duty. So he knows that he is not the doer. So the question comes that now who is the doer? So that is explained in the next verses. That is, who are the five factors of action. So the first factor is adhisthana, or place of action, that is the body of the jiva. The second factor is karta, the doer, or the soul, the jiva. The third factor is karanam, the instruments of action, that is Jnanendriya, Karmendriyas, and basically the senses. The fourth is Cheshta, or the effort that is exerted. And the fifth is Daivam, that is Paramatma, or the super soul. So endeavor means energy which is employed. Here we'll focus first on what is Cheshta, or the effort exerted. So that is endeavor. So for anything, for any activity to take place, there is some endeavor in it, correct? For example, if I want to lift my hand, I will say I want to lift my hand will not lift up. I have to put effort to lift my hand up, and then only I will be able to lift my hand up. So that is the effort given in to perform an action. Okay, so that is what effort exerted means. Everything else we have already discussed in the previous chapters. And so just to sum it up, the place where we perform the action must be favored, the activities must be authorized, the doer or the man who is acting must be expert, the instruments must be fit, and the help from the from the Paramatma, or the super soul, must be adequate. Then only uh, then only these will be the five causes for the success. So in this picture, here a man is conducting business. So if he goes to the marketplace, it will be very nice for him to perform the business because he will have many customers there. So similarly, if we want to progress in spiritual life, then we need to go where the devotees and associates of the Lord are. So we must go to a particular type of place for a particular type of activity. And just like an expert salesman whose method of business is bona fide. So just like in the example of businessman, the effort is being conducted to go to the place and to perform his business. We also must take effort. So basically, these are the five factors of action, and to perform anything, these five factors play a role. And we need to understand that the super soul is the most important of these five, and he is the one who sanctions everything. So then the practical application is that the jiva is able to act only because of Lord's permission, and he depends on the body and senses given by the Lord. But if he thinks that he is the doer, then that is his foolishness. So again, we've seen the five factors. So it is not just the jiva, correct? There are other four factors also. But if the jiva thinks that he is the doer, then that is foolishness. And we see in Bhagavad Gita it is said, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. The spirit soul is bewildered by the influence of false ego. And he thinks that he is the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. And this mentality makes us forget our relationship with Krishna. So the practical approach is that we are not the doers alone. And we should not neglect the other four factors thinking that we are the doers. I am not the only doer, I'm like 1 by 5th of them. So in success, we should not have excessive pride, and during failure or tribulations in our life, we should not excessively lament, understanding that we are not the doers. So moving on to the second section. The second section is modes of material nature, that is from verses 19 to 40. So again, this has already been discussed in the previous chapters, that there are three modes of material nature: mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the mode of goodness is like a rope of gold, and Rajoguna, that is mode of passion, is like a rope of silver, and the mode Tamoguna is like a rope of iron, that is mode of ignorance. So if one is bound as a prisoner in jail, it doesn't matter which rope is bound, because if the rope is made of gold, silver, or iron, a prisoner is a prisoner after all. So it doesn't matter by which rope you're bound. So we need to understand that we should not be bound by these modes, and there is something higher than these three modes, which will be discussed further. So right now, here we see that the influence of the modes in these six aspects are explained. Like how in yesterday's class, Sri Lakshmi explained that there is charity in the three modes, there is austerity in the three modes. So now in each of this, like there's knowledge in three modes, work in three modes, the worker in three modes, the intelligence in three modes, determination and happiness in three modes. So in it has been explained, all these aspects have been explained in three modes. So first we'll talk about jnana or knowledge in three modes. So knowledge about the spirit soul beyond this body is knowledge in Sattva Guna, and knowledge producing many theories by dint of mundane logic and speculation is the product of Rajoguna. And knowledge concerned with keeping the body comfortable is said to be in Tamoguna. So this is how the knowledge or the jnana has been classified into three different modes. Then second is karma in three modes. So karma is work. So, work in goodness is regulated, done with detachment, without like or dislike, and with no desire for fruitive results. And work in mode of passion is done with great labor. It is done for seeking sense gratification, and it is done with a sense of false ego. Then work in ignorance leads to bondage. It is destructive. It is harm to himself and others and without considering the consequences. And it is done when one is in illusion. Similarly, it has also been explained the karta in three modes, or the performer of the action in three modes. Then the intelligence or buddhi in three modes is also explained. So intelligence in the mode of goodness, in when one has the right intelligence in the mode of goodness, one knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. He knows what is to be feared and he knows what is not to be feared. And he knows what is binding and he knows what is liberating. And intelligence in passion is he cannot differentiate between religion and irreligion. He doesn't know the difference between it, and he cannot differentiate what action he has to perform and what action he does not have to perform. Then intelligence in mode of ignorance is that he considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion. So in mode of passion, he cannot differentiate. He gets confused sometimes. But in mode of ignorance, he completely misinterprets and considers irreligion itself to be religion, and he takes everything in the opposite direction of the truth. Then the determination or dhriti in three modes is explained as this: that dhriti in goodness is unbreakable. It is sustained by yoga practice. It controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses. And dhriti in mode of passion is desiring fruitive results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification in the association of similar minded people. So, when one has determination for economic development, for fruitive results, for sense gratification, then it falls under mode of passion. And mode of ignorance, then such determination does not go beyond dreaming and illusion and lamentation. So it is just in the dreaming state. It does not, there's no application to that determination. But one important uh, point that we can note here is that in determination, in the mode of passion, it is mentioned that association of similar minded people. So, whatever it is, we need to understand that association is very important. If we stay in good association, then our good qualities will increase, and if we stay in bad association, then qualities will increase. And it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kavayo vidhu sa eva sadhushu krito moksha dwaram apavritam. That if we stay in association with materialistic people, then our tendency for sense gratification will increase. But the same association, when directed towards the devotees of the Lord, that will open the doors to liberation. So, some important points on determination that we need to understand is that devotees should have the determination that whatever be the situation in life, we should not leave the determination to serve the Lord. If everything is good in life, I will follow devotion, otherwise, I will discontinue devotion. That is not how our approach should be. Our approach should be that in all situations, we should continue our devotion. As per the scriptures, determination is there in everyone, but they don't know how to use that determination. So we have to redirect that misdirected determination. So we need to be determined to engage in association of devotees and progress in the path of bhakti. Then the next aspect is sukham or happiness. So again, there it has been explained happiness in the three modes, that is happiness in sattvagun, rajagun, and tamagun. So the happiness in Sattvagun brings joy and destroys sorrow, and it is like poison in the beginning, but it becomes nectar at the end. And it arises from purity of intellect and awakens one to self realization. Then happiness in mode of passion arises from contact of the senses with sense objects, appears like nectar in the beginning, but becomes poison in the end. And happiness in ignorance will not direct us towards self-realization. It is delusion from beginning to end. From it is not nectar in the beginning and not, so it is what delusional from beginning till the end, and it arises from laziness, illusion, and intoxication. So one way to understand this is that we'll take happiness in each gun or each mode of nature, and we'll try to see an example. So, for example, I want to reduce my weight, and I decide to perform yoga, and I decide to perform diet. So, whatever I do, I will take some time and I will give effort into it, and I will slowly get my desired result. So it may be like poison in the beginning, but the end result is satisfying. So I get happiness in that. So it is poison in the beginning, but it is nectar in the end. Okay, this is just an example. This is to understand how it has been classified. Then, if I want to, the same thing, if I want to perform diet and I perform some crash diet, or I don't perform any exercise, I just do diet and I just lose weight, then my body will become weak, and then again when I start to eat again, I'll have no control, and ultimately the weight will increase again. Then maybe it will increase more than what it was before also. So here we can understand that it is like nectar in the beginning but poison in the end. So in the beginning I might get a good result, but it is like poison in the end. And then happiness in tamoguna, for example, people smoking. So when they start smoking also, it is harmful for their health, and in the end also it is hazardous only, because it is written that it is not good for health, but still they smoke because they get some sort of illusory happiness from it. So that is happiness in tamoguna. It's like it is poison in the beginning also, and it is poison in the end also. So here Krishna uh, has given three, has classified these things into three modes, and among all these modes, those in the mode of goodness should be accepted because that is useful for us in bhakti, and those in the lower mode should be rejected. So by this we finish the initial part of the second section, and let us see the conclusion that Krishna gives. So in 18.40, Krishna says that no one is free from the three modes. So the question may arise that now how can we be free from the three modes? And the answer is very simple: to perform akarma or bhakti, or actions to please the Lord. So that is also the practical application. I have not mentioned it separately, but we need to understand that we need to elevate ourselves to the platform of Shuddha Sattva or pure goodness, and the lower modes are not going to, like Sattvagun, Rajagun, Tamagun. Is first we need to elevate ourselves to mode of goodness, and slowly, and we need to elevate ourselves to Shuddha Sattva. And the lower modes like passion and ignorance will not help us in bhakti, to progress in bhakti. So, to be free from the three modes, the conclusion is perform devotional service and transcend to Shuddha Sattva, uh, that is, work for Krishna. So, the living body is filled with three modes, and and our life becomes successful only by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by prescribed activities according to our nature. So this takes us to the next section, that is ideal worker. So that is the connection from this section to the next section. This section talks about the modes of nature, and it is concluded that we need to transcend to Shuddha Sattva, and we need to perform activities according to our nature. So that takes us to the next section. So the next section is ideal worker. So I've just taken an example of people here to understand that how the varnas are still applicable in today's society. So we have the intelligent class, that is give advice, for example, a teacher. And then we have the administrative class. For example, people working in the government, like we have Barack Obama. So they are working in the government and they are administering administrative class. And then we have the business class, who they oversee the economy. And then we have the shudras are the working class. So people say that this is the varnashram dharma is not applicable, but it is applicable still in the world. It is, uh, although we don't recognize it, it is still happening, even though we are not able to acknowledge it. So someone may ask, does Krishna promote caste system? The answer is no. He is just promoting varnashram dharma, and people have taken a different meaning to it. That's all. Just like I think last class Devani was explaining that people have taken a different meaning, like how Dalits. So people start like differentiating, but that is not the right approach. Krishna is just saying Chaturvarnam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. According to one's qualities and nature, uh, we need to understand and take an approach towards Varnashram Dharma. It is not by birth. And अतः कुंभीर द्विज श्रेष्ठ वर्णाश्रम विभागश स्वनुष्ठितस्य धर्मस्य संसिद्धिर हरितोषणम. So it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that there are four varnas, and for it is we need to perform our occupational duties in according to these four varnas, and then only everyone in the society will be able to live very peacefully. So ideal worker is the next section, and I'm not able to see the screen. One second. Yes. So the four varnas. So we need to. Okay. So Krishna says, uh, here that there are four varnas: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and he gives the qualities of person in each varna. So he says the qualities of Brahmana is peacefulness, self-control, austerity, cleanliness, and this is the nature by which the Brahmanas work. Then the qualities of Kshatriya are mentioned as heroism, power, determination, courage in battle, not fleeing, and leadership. So this is the quality of Kshatriya. And the qualities of Vaishya and Shudra is farming. Sorry, the qualities of Vaishya is farming, cow protection, and business, and the qualities of Shudra are labor and service to the other varnas. So we need to perform our duty according to our nature, but we need to focus on serving the Lord through Bhakti Yoga. So that is mentioned after this. So after Krishna mentions the qualities uh, of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Krishna explains that the focus should be Bhakti Yoga. And then it is mentioned that it is better to do one's own duty imperfectly than to do someone else's duty perfectly. So I think we have already discussed this in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we had a whole question and answer discussion also. So it is better that we perform our own duties imperfectly than to perform another's duty imperfectly. So till here, Krishna has talked about reaction-free work through Jnana Yoga that we have seen in the previous sections, that we need to understand that there are five factors of action, and we need to work by renouncing the result and not being attached and expecting the result. So that is reaction-free work through Jnana Yoga and working in the Varnashram system. And now Krishna explains the Brahman platform. So Krishna in this section describes the transition from reaction free work through Jnana Yoga to the Brahman platform and finally to pure devotional service. And the perfection of Jnana Yoga is to understand the nature of the self and its relationship with Krishna. So Bhakti is the culmination of Jnana. So slowly Krishna now he'll explain about Brahman platform or the Brahma Bhuta stage. So the Lord describes the process of attaining Brahman. That is explained that in the stage of Brahma Bhuta, one is completely devoid of all contamination of the material modes and becomes fully joyful or peaceful. And he becomes Prasanna Atma. So after realizing oneself in this way, he comes to the state of Brahma Bhuta. But then, after saying this, Krishna says that only by bhakti one can know Krishna and attain his abode. So we need to understand that the Brahmabhuta stage of self-realization is the final aspiration of an impersonalist. But bhakti is beyond Brahman realization. And as personalists or devotees of the Lord, we need to aspire to do bhakti or pure devotional service. And a devotee is already in a state of liberation or oneness with the absolute truth, because he has the same he wants to serve the Lord in the way the Lord wants, and without being one with the Lord on a spiritual platform one cannot render service unto him. So this is what is explained, that bhakti is superior to the Brahman platform, and this is how we slowly progress to the next section, that is love of God. So after explaining the Brahman platform, Krishna just give an indication that bhakti is better than it. And in the next section, he talks about the glories of devotional service in detail. And it is also mentioned here that the Brahman platform is confidential knowledge, the Paramatma platform is more confidential knowledge, and pure bhakti is the most confidential knowledge. So in the next section, okay, before we go to the next section, there is an analogy here in 18.48. We talked about the varnashram system, so this is in connection with that. That every endeavor is covered by some fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. So we need to perform our prescribed duty. And The next analogy is that Vishuddhi means that one can enter into the abode of Supreme Lord in one's individuality to engage in his association and render service unto him. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree not to become one with the tree but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. So, this is explained in relation to the superiority of bhakti over meditating on the Brahman platform. So now we'll go to the next section, that is love of God. So Krishna in detail talks about bhakti and how we need to engage in bhakti of the Lord. So pure bhakti is acting in Krishna consciousness. So acting in Krishna consciousness means to act under the direction of the Supreme Lord, just like a faithful servant, and not independently. So, acting according to the direction of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita and acting under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, or the bona fide spiritual master who is Krishna's representative, is recommended. And we need to work according to Krishna's order. That is perfect Krishna consciousness. So, this section talks about what happens when someone works in Krishna consciousness and when someone does not work in Krishna consciousness. So, for one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Krishna becomes the most intimate friend and always looks after his friend's comfort. And Krishna gives himself to his friend and removes all the suffering. So, that is the result of when someone works in Krishna consciousness. Okay. So in the previous section, we saw the confidential knowledge of Brahman platform. So now Krishna gives knowledge of super soul, that is little higher, that is little more confidential. And he says, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesha arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. So the translation of the shloka is the Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of all living entities. He is directing the wanderings of all of them who are seated as on a machine under the spell of material energy. So similarly, we have also seen in 15.15 that Krishna says Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. He is seated in everyone's heart as the super soul. And after changing the body as a living entity, he forgets his past deeds. But Krishna, as the super soul, he knows the past, present, and future, and he remains as the witness to all the activities. And by his order, the material nature gives a particular type of body to the jiva so that he can work according to his past deeds. So, this shloka 18.61 gives more confidential knowledge, that is knowledge about the super soul, how Krishna is seated in everyone's heart. And the purpose, now we may all get a doubt that why is Krishna giving knowledge of Paramatma? We know that bhakti is ultimate. Then why is Krishna giving knowledge about Paramatma? So the purpose of the knowledge revealed is to take shelter of the Lord. So this surrender to the super soul is for worshippers of Krishna as expansion of super soul. So people who read Bhagavad Gita, not everyone may approach Bhagavad Gita as devotees. There might be someone who want to worship Krishna as super soul. So this is given for them. And for worshippers of Bhagwan, worshippers of Krishna in the Bhagwan feature, that is direct the Shamasundara form and worshipping the Lord as in loving reciprocation, then Krishna gives them advice in 18.65 to 66. So that is the most confidential knowledge. So after talking about the Paramatma, Krishna talks about the Bhagwan feature, and that is the most confidential knowledge. So, and it is the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and we need to apply it in our life. So he says, anyone wants to recite this sloka?
Yes, I can. मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मध्याजी मां नमस्कुरु मां मे वैश्यसि सत्यं ते प्रतिजाने प्रियोऽसि मे सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा.
Thank you, Mataji. So Krishna gives these two shlokas that is said as the most confidential knowledge, and it highlights the importance of bhakti. So he says, Man mana bhavamad bhakto. Man mana or concentrate the mind on Krishna consciousness. Concentrate the mind on Krishna. And this is the most confidential part of knowledge. So that original form of Krishna with two hands carrying a flute, bluish complexion like shown in this picture over here, with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. So manmana, we need to concentrate on the Lord. So okay, that is manmana. Next is bhava mad bhakto. That is to be Krishna's devotee. So Krishna excludes all the other responsibilities uh, of jnani and or a yogi, and he says that we have to become a devotee by performing Navamida Bhakti, like hearing, chanting, seeing his deity, cleaning the temple. So that is Mad Bhakto, become a devotee. Then Madhyaji means worshipping him by offering flowers, garlands, ornaments. That is Madhyaji. Mam Namaskuru means to fall on the ground and offer respects and obeisances to Krishna. And then Manmana Bhamad Bhakto, Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, Mame Vaishyasi means by doing any of this or all the four activities mentioned, one can attain Krishna. And Krishna makes an oath that I will give myself to such a person who surrenders unto me. And now there might be a question that might come up, that how is it possible for men whose hearts are contaminated with unlimited sins to perform pure bhakti to Krishna unless the sins are destroyed? So this answer Krishna gives in the next sloka, that is Sarva Dharman Parityaja, that even if you are not freed from sins, you can surrender unto me, and he will still deliver us from the sins. He says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. Give up all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. And he is specifically saying surrender unto him, not demigods or anyone else. And I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear or worry. So this is Krishna's promise. So yes. So Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja, and abandon all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. So the final conclusion of Gita is this, that even though various kinds of knowledge has been presented throughout the Bhagavad Gita about about Brahman, about super soul, about Varnashram, about sannyas, about Tyaga, sense control, mind control, meditation. So Krishna is saying, leave all that aside. He has described so many ways of dharma, right, in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is saying that give up all such processes and simply surrender to Krishna. And Krishna has personally accepted the burden of protecting such surrendered souls and freeing them from all sin. So this is what we also see in the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam yajana paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. That he personally provides for the devotee. So Krishna has taken this as his personal responsibility. So this is what is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Verse number 65 to 66. This is the conclusion. And now we will go to the purport of Srila Prabhupada in 65th shloka. Can someone read this?
18.65 purport. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So, Prabhupada very nicely tells that this is the most confidential part of knowledge and we need to engage in bhakti. So, after this is said, after Krishna tells this verse, uh, then he tells Arjuna, Yathechasi tata kuru. So, after saying this, he has completed saying Bhagavad Gita and he says, now I have told you everything. Now you can do as you wish. So, someone can think that after explaining the most confidential knowledge, why does Krishna ask Arjuna to act according to his own wish? So, Krishna does not interfere with our little independence and he does not force anyone to act according to his instructions, but he gives knowledge to them and he allows us to act according to our own choice. So, that is the greatness of the Lord. That again, it shows his greatness and his renunciation quality that he he gives us the correct path, but he leaves it up to us and he does not interfere with our free will. So that concludes the that section, which is love of God, and next section is end result. And in this section, Krishna will speak the glory of Bhagavad Gita and the result of hearing Bhagavad Gita, that is the Falashruti. So from here, we can understand the preaching application. So in verse number 68, Krishna says that whoever preaches this knowledge attains bhakti and goes back home, back to Godhead without any doubt. So this is the preaching application that we have understood when we have understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita, we should also preach this knowledge, and in that way also we will attain bhakti. So the person who is preaching, the person who is listening, everyone gets liberated. And we have been blessed to be part of this divine mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and assist his devotees by distributing the mercy of the holy name in every town and every village. So this should be our only wealth and our only treasure and only attachment in life, to assist in the mission of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread the holy names and to spread the glories of devotional service. And we can see from the example of Srila Prabhupada itself that he left his family, and not only family, he also left Vrindavan. He was staying in Vrindavan, but still he left Vrindavan just to go to a strange foreign land in New York with no money, with no assistance, and at the age of 70, with ill health and suffering two heart attacks. But still, he was willing to accept that life with ill health and in a strange place, just because it was the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the order of his spiritual master. That is why he had taken it up as his life and soul. So that is perfection of renunciation. So this chapter is titled Perfection of Renunciation. So that is the real perfection of renunciation, not being attached and ready to spread bhakti. And that is what we should be striving in life for. So we should have this purpose and we should only have this attachment in life, that is to assist somehow or the other in the mission of Guru and Gurudev and Guru and Gauranga, and in any and every possible way we can. So, but okay, so now we understood that we are supposed to preach the message of Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna also writes that this knowledge should not be explained to people who are envious of me, and so Krishna gives a list of people who who are not to be given the message of Bhagavad Gita, who are not austere, who are not sense controlled, who are not envious. I mean, who are envious of the Lord. So the question may rise that then why to preach to such people? First, in one side we know that we are supposed to preach the message, and in other side Krishna is saying you should not preach to such people. So then what are we to do? So Krishna says that the answer is, although Krishna says that Gita cannot be taught to non-devotees, although not everyone is a devotee, there are many men who are not envious of Krishna and they have faith in him as God. So, if such persons hear from a bona fide devotee about the Lord, then they attain the results mentioned, that they go back home, back to Godhead without any doubt. So, the devotees sometimes hold public classes or preaching classes and they give an opportunity to such common people to become devotees. Thus, by either teaching Bhagavad Gita or studying Bhagavad Gita, or at least by hearing Bhagavad Gita, one will attain great transcendental results. So, this is how we need to understand the preaching application. And after Krishna says this, the Falashruti, Arjuna expresses that his illusion is dispelled. He says, Nashto moha smriti labdha. And he says, Karishye vachanam tava. He says, I am ready to follow your instructions. My illusion has now been dispelled. I have regained my memory and I am ready to follow your instructions. So, this is what Arjuna says. And then there is a description of how Sanjaya is overwhelmed and overjoyed by how everything had unfolded, because he is able to also listen to whatever Krishna is telling to Arjuna. So, as Arjuna was fortunate enough to understand Krishna directly, by the grace of his guru, Vyasdev, Sanjaya was able to hear Krishna. So, another lesson that we can learn is that one can understand Krishna through the medium of a guru. And so, okay, so then Sanjaya expresses his wonder, and his hairs are standing on end and he's very happy and elated. And after that, we come to the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita, that is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So Sanjaya says that wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, there will certainly be opulence or prosperity, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. So, the practical application is that we need to study this sacred conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, and then there will be auspiciousness. So, by studying Bhagavad Gita, our illusion and confusion is destroyed, and we will get a clear idea about life and what to do, what not to do. So it is like a life manual for us. So the conclusion or the final lessons that we can learn is that when we use things for our sense gratification, it is material. But when we use the same thing in service of the Lord, it is perfection of renunciation. And we should not be attracted to anything except pleasing Krishna. And a neophyte devotee will perform his occupation according to his own way, but an advanced soul's desire is, Krishna, how can I please you? Whatever you want is my duty. And this divine spiritual consciousness is awakened through the process of associating with persons who are in Krishna consciousness. So these are the concluding lessons that we can learn from this chapter, and that the culmination of Bhagavad Gita is bhakti, and that everyone in the world is meant to serve Krishna by doing what Krishna desires, because that is his original position. Love for Krishna is the ultimate perfection of all the living entities. And by proper use of our independence, we can choose to love Krishna and we can become happy forever. As Srila Prabhupada always says, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So this is the lesson that we can learn. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the end of my presentation. I would want to apologize if I have not been able to convey the essence or the real meaning of this chapter, because I myself feel that I've missed on so many points and I've not been able to deliver it properly. It was the last minute for me to do this chapter. So I would sincerely ask for forgiveness for missing out and not being able to present properly. If there is any feedback or suggestion, please let me know so I can improve myself next time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, TulsiGopi. It was a wonderful presentation. It was such a huge chapter, 78 verses, not a big joke. Yeah. And that had to be conveyed and communicated in this short time. You've done a wonderful job stressing on all the important aspects, the key verses in the chapter, and it was great to hear the nectar. And yeah, it was wonderful, Beta. All Harry Bird. Happiness to you and all appreciations to you. May Krishna bless you, dear. It was presented very nicely. Very good. Wonderful. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. So those of you who are hearing TulsiGopi for the first time, she is the dear daughter of His Grace Gopakumar Das Prabhu and Her Grace Gopapriya Devi Dasi Mata. And TulsiGopi just finished her grade 12 and she'll be entering her university. And she's a wonderful, she has done her Bhakti Shastri and she's also doing her Bhakti Vaibhava. It's in the process. And she's a wonderful Kirtani also. She plays harmonium, mridanga. She's learning violin and flute also. So in this way, and very nicely growing up into a very wonderful Vaishnavi. And the most important, wonderful part of Tulsi Gopi is she very nicely guides everybody, all the other friends who are with her. And she's also very good in histrionics. I mean, she's very good in performing arts, like in the sense like great in skits. And very easily she adapts to any role. And she likes to do comic roles, all kind of roles for that matter. Sometimes she becomes a daku, sometimes becomes something else. So in this way, she very nicely takes on the audience. It's a wonderful quality in her, and also she helps her friends, all her friends, and also my personal experience with her also is one thing which I want to tell all of you. She's a wonderful taskmaster. She's a great administrator. You just tell her some task, she will get it done. I have to just tell her, dear, I need this, and she will get it for me. She'll do it. I need not give her a reminder. And also when we have meetings, she's very good in taking notes. And when I'm telling something, the minutes of the meeting is ready. And as soon as the meeting is done, she shoots the meeting minutes. So that's how she's so, what to say, she's perfect in all these aspects. And my sincere blessings to her that she may very nicely progress both in her material and spiritual pursuits. And may Krishna always keep her under his shelter, always keep her protected. Thank you, my dear Tulsi Gopi. It was a very wonderful chapter, especially the last chapter with such an elaborate, it's quite a huge chapter. And you did a wonderful job. Thank you, my dear. Thanks a lot. Okay. Anybody has any? Yes, Beta. Tell me, Tulsi. Go ahead, Beta.
I had prepared a quiz also, so I will share that.
Yeah. First, let us see if somebody has any questions. And then anybody, I think Devyani has raised her hand. Let us hear from her. Yes, Devyani.
Hare Krishna, pranams. It was a very wonderful session. It is no very. It's a very admirable to see you cover this. No, it's a very vast chapter. It cannot be done in like 1 hour without proper planning and focus on where all I have to present. My doubt is that already Krishna has like explained thoroughly in first 17 chapters. Why did he repeat everything in this chapter? Is it because of we are not that much intelligent to remind us whatever he discussed in the previous chapter?
Hare Krishna, I will try to answer. So I think yes, Krishna is repeating it as even in normal life when there's so much that is said, we usually want summary we go to ChatGPT, can you summarize this? What is the conclusion? So everyone wants that quick takeaway lesson. So that is why Krishna is giving the essence, that is bhakti, towards the end, to highlight that bhakti is important. Already he has highlighted in the 12th chapter, but still in this conclusion, and also because in the beginning Arjuna is asking a question. So Arjuna still had some kind of doubt that if he should renounce or not. So yes, for Arjuna also, and through Arjuna for all of us. This is my understanding. I don't know, Mataji, is it correct?
Hare Krishna. Yes, better. Yes. Yeah, definitely. Because the Lord has completed, like Devyani rightly said, it's already finished in chapter 17 itself, whatever he has to say. But again, he stresses on the modes of mental nature. If you see this chapter, he talks again about the modes, all these things, to make us understand that ultimately we all need to transcend the modes. And at the end, if you may recollect, Devyani, TulsiGopi showed one particular slide wherein from the Brahman stage, Paramatma stage 5, how he actually takes us to the Bhakti path, Bhakti Yoga path. So this is the whole crux wherein he wants to re-establish or re-emphasize or reiterate that point, how ultimately it is bhakti. Because if you may recollect, this last section talks about Nana, correct? But then ultimately, Krishna doesn't want to stop there at Nana, but he also wants to connect how Nana Yoga should finally culminate to Bhakti Yoga. That he wants to emphasize. That's the reason he is talking about this particular chapter, giving us again an overview of the entire, a quick review of the entire 17 chapters. Okay, beta.
Yes, Mataji, one more doubt also.
Also, and also, if you see for that matter, then if somebody may ask, let me ask this question: what is the difference between chapter 2 and chapter 18? Chapter 2 is also a summary. Chapter 18 also is summary. What is the difference between these two? How to understand?
Mataji, maybe the chapter 2 is the summary before Krishna has given the knowledge, and this is after, like how much we have understood after his lecture.
Okay. Yeah, Tulsi, what you wanted to say?
I was thinking maybe chapter 2 is more focused on the knowledge of the soul, so there is more philosophy over there. But here, Krishna is very directly telling, like, surrender everything and become my devotee.
Okay. We're almost there. Anybody else would like to try? No problem. In chapter 2, Krishna is giving the truths, or he is planting the seeds. He is giving very broad principles and certain definitions, and he's giving an outline path. Whereas chapter 18 is a fully matured fruit. That is a seed format, but this is fully a matured fruit. And then later on, he gives, like, for something like, like for example, in the start of a meeting, we say, no, this is the agenda of the meeting. Correct? So that was something like an agenda what he gave in chapter 2. Then after the meeting is done, then we give a quick summary. And that is what he's done in chapter 8. Chapter 18. Yeah. So the journey, so it is a complete, it's a proper, he has mapped. Then in chapter 2, he said that he gave the broad principles. And then in chapter 18, it is like a complete mature fruit, because he has taken us through from all the chapters from 3 to 17. He has given us elaborate understanding. He has expanded all the truths or the principles that he told in chapter 2. Then he went on to expand them further from chapter 3 to 17. And then in 18, he is giving us again an overall summary of what it is all about. Okay, beta. Now, what I want, especially the children, these 6 children who have done this exercise for your own understanding, what I want you to do. This is not a part of our curriculum here, but for your own understanding, because you have done your Bhakti Shastri. Now, I want you to pick up those verses of chapter 2, where it is a seed, the seed format, but then how it has matured in chapter 18, the fruit. Can you do that mapping? I give you 1 week or you take 10 days time, no problem. You got my point, what I'm saying? So this is a homework for TulsiGopi, Sri Lakshmi, Madhava, Radhika, Devyani, Asini. You have to pick up those principles or the verses which are in seed format in chapter 2, and then how they all matured when it came in chapter 18. The seed and the fruit, you have to give me those verses. Take this as an exercise and send it to me on my personal chat box, WhatsApp. Okay, beta? For your own understanding. Because I want to give you more and more and more. Okay? Yes. And also for yesterday's question that you raised, TulsiGopi, I have a detailed answer wherein I've taken all references and I will share it with you for your understanding. Okay, beta? Very nice, very wonderful. I'm so happy you're all thinking out of the box and very going deep into Shastric studies. That gives me immense happiness and bliss and pleasure. Very nice, wonderful. Yes, I'm seeing Nupur Mataji's hand is raised.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. When these classes started, I was really enthusiastic. I want to read, learn Bhagavad Gita according to their prospects, under the guidance of Mataji and Prabhuji. And I'm really feel very nice and refreshed in my knowledge regarding Bhagavad Gita. Everyone is prepare everything very nicely. They are wonderful kids, not simple kids, wonderful kids, and really hats off to their perseverance and their efforts. Their consciousness is really, really highly elevated than us. They are just for namesake they are kids, but they are really highly elevated. So my blessings, my prayers for them, for their further upliftment, and Guru and Gauranga will support them even a slightest situation of deviation. And my one simple question is there. You wrote in one slide that transcends to Shuddha Sattva, we need to serve Krishna. Probably it may be definitely in the mode of goodness only. But like how practically it is, how long it is practically possible to transcend to Shuddha Sattva, as like in our day-to activities, even we are working for Krishna or in Krishna service, our mood and mode both are changing. Suppose even we are worshipping deities also, like even the slightest deviation of our arrangement, like even the box is not working or flowers are not properly fresh, our mood and mode deviates, even the slightest of that. So how long practically it is possible to transcendence to Shuddha Sattva through Krishna service?
Hare Krishna. So I feel that whenever we are performing some activity in the material world, we are always influenced by some guna, or at least some mixture of a guna. Like we might be predominantly in mode of goodness, but like little of passion and ignorance might always be there. So I feel like we should try to be in the mode of goodness, because only from there slowly and gradually we will be able to elevate to Shuddha Sattva. And we are all still conditioned living entities, and we are still practicing to be. So we have to be as much as possible in the mode of goodness and avoid things that are in mode of passion and ignorance. And uh, yeah, so perform devotional service and be in the mode of goodness. And moreover, I feel like if we are performing devotional service, slowly and gradually we'll be purified. And we just need to have faith in the process and never stop performing it. So slowly, gradually, it will happen. This is my understanding. Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Beta. Very nicely said. Most importantly, faith in the process and perseverance. You have to continue to do it because the process is perfect. We may have problems, we may be lacking, but the process is perfect. So we should have faith in the process and we should persevere. We cannot, we cannot expect overnight results. So that's the reason, Utsaha Nisaya Deriya. That is the first verse in Nectar of Instruction. So that we have to apply it truthfully to the verbatim. Verbatim means, I mean to say, as is, we have to take it. Otherwise, without these three aspects, we can never. That is why Rupa Goswami says, any sadhaka, the first and foremost book that he has to read is Nectar of Instructions. And that is Utsaha Nischaya Dhyarya. Determination, faith, perseverance, conviction should be there. Only then we'll be able to transcend. We'll be able to perfect. The process perfect. Each one runs in a different pace, that's all.
Thank you, Mataji. I feel like whatever questions I have asked till now, this answer is all same every time. Like we need to perform continuously and patiently, faithfully, and the result will come.
Yeah, because that is the only answer. There is no other.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So
My
you
query is
may
only
you may
regarding.
you may ask the question in any different way, but
uh,
that is the answer. No other answer. It cannot
yeah, yes,
vary.
Mataji.
It cannot
Yeah,
vary. That is the answer. That is the only fact. That is the only truth.
yes, yes,
Only
yes.
truth.
I'm just revising myself. Yeah, what my problem is.
Very good.
Mm.
Very well. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mataji.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. So this is Google Form, right? This is the form of Google Form, right, Beta? Okay.
Yes, Mataji. There are 10 questions.
Okay,
MCQ.
Beta. Thank you, Beta. So everybody can take your time and answer them. But before people leave, I would request you to please do the Vaishnava Pranamantri, Beta.
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
So can we quickly, tomorrow we'll have the 13th chapter, right? TulsiGopi, inform everybody.
Yes, Mataji.
Let us have 13th chapter of Madhava tomorrow. Yeah, I request all of you to kindly be present for the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita tomorrow by Madhava. Okay, thank you. Same link, same time. Hare Krishna. Take care, all of you. Bye. So, with this, actually, we have finished all the 18 chapters. It was a very wonderful journey, and with all you wonderful, lovely children. And like Mataji was saying, yes, I could refresh. It was a great, wonderful, it was nice journey being with all of you, hearing from you, hearing from your perspective, wonderfully taken through each and every chapter. And most importantly, how you covered all these chapters in just 1.5 hours time. That was really worth learning from all of you. Yeah, I wish you again to each one of you the very best in your life. Yeah. So with these words, I end the session here for today, and we'll try to have more and more of such sessions in the coming days, in the coming weeks, in the coming years, by the Lord's mercy. But tomorrow, just we have one more session, which is the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita by Madhava. Let us all join together tomorrow, same time, same link. Okay? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all of you.
Mataji, I just wanted to say that we
Yes,
have just presented the theoretical aspect of it, but we have not realized it. We are not we need to apply it in our lives at the right time. So I just wanted to ask all of you, just like Nupur Mataji just now, she said that she prays that whenever we forget, we'll be able to remember. So all of you, all the senior devotees, please pray for, I'm saying on behalf of all of us, please pray that when it is most needed, we will be able to remember it and apply it in our life and not just repeat it like a parrot.
It
So,
will come better. In fact, I am able to see the lot of difference in the way you presented in the last session. And now there is a lot of maturity also. Even when you're answering the questions also, I'm able to see that. So it will come better. Definitely it will come. And Krishna will definitely come to your aid. Not to worry. Because you're all doing so sincerely. Okay? Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Take care. Take care. Have a great time. Okay. So with these words, I will end the session here for today. Okay, beta? Take care. Hare Krishna.